Hello, this is Rakesh Rao from DesignSense Software Technologies, and today I'm going to show you CADPower V24, which is our productivity tool for DWG based software like AutoCAD and BricsCAD. At DesignSense, we are on a mission to make our CAD design industry more efficient. In other words, we want to teach you new techniques by which you can speed up your drafting and adapt more efficient design processes that can help you churn out drawings faster. CADPower is a software which enables this in a significant way. Now, CADPower is a productivity tool that runs on AutoCAD and BricsCAD in identical ways. It's a DWG based software, and we have even tried running it on ZWCAD and Ares Commander with reasonably good success. So in this demo, I'm going to alternate between using BricsCAD and AutoCAD, so you will know exactly how the tools look, how similar they are in both the platforms. Now I must remind you now that we have recorded our last demo on YouTube, which was for CADPower V21. Now that demo is just as relevant and important today as this demo is. But today we are trying to cover some of the features that we did not cover in the earlier versions. So these features may have been either left out earlier or they were developed and improved in the last 3 years. So I would request our viewers to look at the V21 demo as well as this V24 demo. So let us start with understanding the user interface. CADPower operates in AutoCAD and BricsCAD in identical ways, and it's available as a pull down menu or as ribbon or on the toolbars as well. So for example, if you open any of these toolbars, you can access the CADPower toolbars. Now let us look at some tools to understand what CADPower does and how it can help you. So I'm going to open a drawing here which contains a series of tiles which have been placed around a boundary. So this is part of our BOM BOQ tool, which is one of the popular segments in CADPower, and the motive here is to be able to place a tile or a panel which is rectangular in shape across a closed boundary and to get a very quick analysis of how many tiles are required across this place. So I'm going to click on this place panels and tiles. Now you need to have a tile block, which I already have in this case. If you don't have one, you just have to enter the name here and it will automatically create one for you. You need to enter the standard size, which is the length and breadth of the tile, and also parameters like round off dimension, gap, and so on. You can even specify a name. For example, I'm going to call this as a Kajaria tile. You can even specify whether it is a 3D element or a 2D element. So a tile is essentially 2D, but if you're looking at the third dimension, then it could be something like a brick, a hollow brick or a hollow tile. Then you can have a 3D dimension to it and also get parameters like volume, weight, and so on. So once we have done that, I said OK. Now it's asking the select polygonal area to fill. So I'm going to select this area. Pick origin point. So let's pick any one point here as the origin point, and I'll pick another point here as the alignment point. Now what the program is going to do is it is going to cover this entire area with tiles. Now this tile is nothing but a block which is rectangular in shape and has got two attributes, a description attribute and a size attribute. So if I click here, you can see there is a size and a description. So it has created a coverage of the entire area with the tile of size 1000 by 500 which I selected. Now this is good enough but not exactly correct. You will need to edit these tiles. For example, in this case you can see what I have done already. I have edited these tiles so that they exactly match the boundary more closely. So this is again not difficult in CADPower. you can go here to the BOQ tools, and there's an option here called interactive XY scale editor. So if I choose any one tile, say for example I'm going to choose this tile here at the end, and I'm going to now it's asking me which attribute should be updated. So like I said, the default is size and description. So do you want to interactively edit the X scale factor? So I'll say yes. What is the increment? So increment I will say is -10, and the anchor point is by default the insertion point. So as I press enter, you can see that the size is automatically getting changed by 10 units. So from 1000 by 500 size, I have reduced this tile back to a size of 940 by 500. So you can continue to do this until you get the size that you have in mind. So that is exactly what I have done in this case. So I have edited this earlier using the command that I showed you just now, and I've got all these specific custom size tiles here. So this is a very quick way for you to cover an area with a set of rectangular panels or tiles. So this can be really useful for people in the AEC or construction industry, for those in fabrication, for those who are placing solar tiles, for example, they can place solar panels, and you can see that the parameters are very closely controlled. For example, there is a gap also which I have specified as 50 in this case. There is a round off value also. You can exactly have the tiles as per the size that you want. Now once you have created these tiles, the next step would be to count the tiles. So we have an option here called count panel and tiles. So if you run this, you can see on the command line it will run this command called cp_tile count. So all the CADPower commands start with cp, so it's easy for you to remember. Now here again there are a bunch of parameters. The important ones here is to know that all the parameters can be controlled from an INI file. And once you have set up your INI file for your project, it's very easy. You can just use that same INI file again and again, and do your designs really fast. So I'm going to select the tiles, and now I'm going to create the table for this. This is the quantity table. So let me give the size as 10. So we have here the quantity table already created. So if you zoom in, you can see that the block name is tile. This is the size. This is the quantity. So number of times that particular tile size appears in the drawing. And in the INI file, I have set up something called as a unit cost. So based on the unit cost, it will compute the total cost. And there's also a unit area, which means it's the area of each tile. So based on that, it computes the total area. And if you have defined your tile as a 3D tile, 3D tile means you can have a third dimension like a brick. You can have a length, breadth and height. So you can compute the volume and total weight as well. So this is our humble attempt to create a tool which allows you to quantify your designs and create a table, and this table can be easily exported to Excel. So you can see already when I ran this command, the Excel data has been created. So this is again a very natural process, because anything that you do in CAD eventually gets into Excel. So most of the CADPower tools do export in Excel format. Okay, so let me come to the next command now in CADPower. So that also has got something to do with BOQ and BOM. Now the reason why I am focusing more on BOQ and BOM is because this is one of the most highly requested topic and one of the most time consuming for everyone. So we make it easy in CADPower to make these tasks faster for you. So here I have a manufacturing drawing. of some parts, and then there is a BOQ which has been created here completely in 2D. Now remember, this is not a 3D BOQ which has been created from your mechanical design software like SolidWorks or CAD Mechanical. Instead, these are all independent text entities which have been just placed in tabular form, and from this the BOQ needs to be calculated. So I'm going to show this in AutoCAD. So like I said, the interface is exactly the same. So if you want to go to the BOQ tools to generate a CSV output from here, so I go here to BOM BOQ tools, ERP export tools, convert text table to CSV data. So now I need to select all the text that I want to be converted. So I carefully select this much. So 301 text has been found. I press enter. Now you can add ERP data in your CSV file if you like. If you don't want to, you just leave it unchecked. Now we click OK. So now what CADPower is doing is that it is composing all this disparate text into a format which can be exported to a CSV file. Now once that is done, you can see the CSV file imported. It has done the export now. You can see 50 rows of table text exported. So if you come to the folder, you can see that the CSV file is created here. So exactly the same data from your AutoCAD drawing has now been exported to Excel data as a CSV. Now this operation runs faster in BricsCAD than in AutoCAD, but nevertheless it runs on both the platforms easily. So that's the second tool I wanted to show you in CADPower. Next, the third tool I want to show you is the whole table tool. Now let me open a sample. So a whole table is something that most manufacturing professionals will be quite familiar with. So this is a representation of a series of holes or positions where fabrication machinery needs to come and maybe punch out something or cut out something. So a whole table is usually represented on a grid which has an origin, and from the origin you can measure the distances to the left and right as negative and positive, up and down also in the y-axis. So let's see how this program runs. So we are doing this in BricsCAD. So we come to draw rule based and draw whole table. Now the command can be run on the command line also. It is called cp_whole table. So the first thing that you need is a closed polygon which serves as the whole table frame. So I'm going to select this as the frame. Now once I select that as a frame, I get a big list here where I can specify exactly how I want my whole table to be created. Now one of the important outputs of the whole table command is the CSV file again, because like I said, most of your data eventually goes into Excel. The whole table format also is important and worth mentioning here. By default it is the quantity and the XY positions, but we also have two sub programs, milling XY and Siemens sub program. So we leave first the default. You can specify the whole table name, the incrementing value, sorting direction, in which order it has to create the whole name, all those things. Dimensioning method is important. You can specify whether you want ordinate dimension, inside, outside, hole to hole, and so on. So let's just choose this ordinate in place, and I'm going to say OK. Pick origin point. You can see by default whatever is the default is shown here with a small red mark, and I'm going to choose the horizontal as the x-axis. So now you can see it has drawn the whole table marking with this as the origin. I chose this as the origin, and then I click a point here to place the whole table, if I want, I can scale it. So I'm just going to scale it to double the size. So if I zoom in here, I can see that it has created a number of whole tables. One is a whole table of circular shapes. So you can see in this there were some circular shapes, there were some polygons, there were some four-sided polygons, there were some three-sided polygons. So all of them have come here. The whole ID, I wanted it to be character numbers, so you can see the whole IDs also have been assigned. The area is shown, XY dimension is shown. So there is a whole table for circular shapes, a whole table for polygonal shapes, a quantity table for circular shapes, and a quantity table for polygonal shapes. So this information is very neatly captured here, and in the same way like other commands. So we have the CSV output as well here. So you can see all the information is captured in the CSV file for Excel. Now let's look at another option. Now sometimes you may just have points. You may just have a frame and you may have points, and you may need a reference grid showing how far these points are from a given origin. Now strictly this is not a whole table, but this is more like a reference table where your point markings are noted from a origin. So you can do this also with the same command. So we just go back here to whole table. I select this as the frame. Now I'm going to make it linear from origin as my annotation option. So I'm going to choose this point as the origin and this point as the x-axis point. Now you can see it has created the dimensions. Of course you can change these spacings from the menu. It has taken whatever is the default now. And if you see here, now the whole table has been created with just the XY positions. There's a remarks column also which you can change if you want, and all the whole IDs are here. So this is using the existing points and their reference numbers. So like I said, the whole table means different things to different people. So you can use it the way you want. You can have just the normal holes, or you can just put these kind of one. Now in a similar way, now I can do a whole table on the blocks as well. So suppose I have blocks with attribute, I can do a whole table on that as well. So I'm just going to type it from the command line. And right now I have a block called slot, and it has an attribute called part name. So based on that, I'm just drawing the x-axis, and this is how it looks. And this is the whole table for blocks. So when you have a block and an attribute, its attribute value is captured and its quantity information also is captured here. And in this table, the blocks with attributes positional information is captured. Now once again, you can see the whole table CSV file also is generated. So that's how you generate whole tables in CADPower. Now let's go back to AutoCAD, and I'm going to show you one of our most oldest and most popular commands, which is the text counter. Now the reason why I'm showing this is because it remains the most popular despite several years of having new commands coming in. So the text counter command is where we create patterned text or incrementing text. Now you can run it from the command line also by typing cp_tc. So for example, I'm going to give my increment type as integer, and I'm going to have my starting value as 500. So as I click, you can see that it has created text which is incrementing in nature. I go back to settings. I can have a prefix in front of it. Let's say room number is the prefix, and You can see that the starting value is 508, that is where I had left it. So this is again very useful, and it cuts across all domains and disciplines. Literally every CAD design professional wants this kind of tool. Now between the earlier versions and now, we have made several improvements. One of them is of course creating a range text sequence, which I'm going to show you shortly. The other option that we have improved is creating a boundary around each text. So I can put a slot as a boundary, and let's say of polyline type. So now whatever I create will have a boundary around it. So it's a text with a polyline as a boundary. I can even create a range. So if I choose range, then with the same settings, let's say from starting value is 100 to 130, so I can create a range of text. So if I click here, then what it does is it creates a range of text with 100 to 130. Okay, so now you can see that we have created the range of text with the slot included. So probably that's not very useful, so I'll say don't make the boundary. So if I select it once again, so now you can see that this is more reasonable. So you have all the text created from 100 to 100 and 130. So in this way you can actually build a table that you want to show in your drawing. Say for example, in engineering design, it's always, if you have room numbers, if you have column numbers, beam numbers, or whatever positions, they're all in some order and they will follow some pattern. So you can create these kind of texts easily. Say for example, I'm going to create another text here with just characters. So let's say call it as AA, and create a range starting from, let's say, AA to AK. Okay, so let's create something like this, and I'm going to pick it here. This is the start point. So let me just show you an hypothetical case of a data processing that a CAD technician would probably be required to do quite often. So we have something like this. So there is room number 100 to 110, and then there is AA to AK. Now what we want to do now is, next we want to export this to a CSV file and convert this into an Excel data. So I go to export and use this command here called export columns of text into CSV data. The CSV name, let me just choose this as a CSV name, whatever it is. Number of columns is 2, scan direction is down. So the first, this is my first set, and this is my second set. So you can see it's exported this to the CSV file. So if I go here and look at it, so I have the data exported as a CSV file. So you saw one more small tool here which did a simple export of a set of structured text tools, structured text data from your drawing into CSV files. So these are small examples of how you can use CADPower to bring about speed drafting. So speed drafting doesn't just mean that you draw lines and dimensions and be able to do it fast. You can definitely do that in using CADPower, because we have a lot of additional right-click customizations and all that. But speed drafting also means the ability to transfer your CAD data into Excel data. And that is where CADPower really will help you to achieve that 5x improvement in speed compared to not using a software like CADPower. So I have covered a couple of tools now, and I intend to do these kind of YouTube demos more often, because we have like 500 plus tools in CADPower, and each one of them is really important, really useful, and really relevant to your work. It just depends what your kind of work is and whether the kind of tool that we have makes sense for you or not. So we also recognize that it can get difficult for people to know what tools they want, because it's not easy to choose from a collection of 500 tools and zero in on exactly that tool which you need. So do let us know, do drop us a line, and we will be glad to assist you with exactly the set of tools that you need. And if you have evaluated, or if you are evaluating CADPower and you find that there are certain tools that you wish you knew more about, probably the documentation is not enough, probably the video is not enough, or it doesn't exist, do drop us a line. We will be happy to create the documentation or video and show you what the tool does very quickly. So at this point I'm going to stop this demo, and I invite you to download a trial version and try it out, and do let me know what feedback you have, and we will be back with you soon. Thank you.